Hi, I'm Dr. Prasad. Welcome to the Express Health Kitchen. So today we're going to talk about meal prepping. How exactly would you go about making these meals for yourself at home? So you have a handout right in front of you, and you can read the left side of the handout. It pretty much talks about the basics of meal prepping. You have to invest in the right containers, make sure your lids match, use a lot of different spices to get different flavoring. Part of the obesity epidemic that's happening right now is related to a lot of people eating out all the time. So when you're eating out at restaurants, the portions tend to be larger than they should be. And unless you're telling the restaurant chefs, okay, I want half now, half to go, they're going to give you that full portion. And if you're not careful, you might actually eat that full portion of food, which will be way too many calories for you. So people eating out consistently is part of what has contributed to the obesity epidemic over time. And a lot of doctors now are recommending, myself included, for you to eat more at home. Prepare your own meals at home because, again, the chefs don't know you. So they don't know if you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or diabetes. So they will make their standard meal with sugar and salt and butter and cheese, not knowing what your specific dietary requirements are. So if you're making your meals yourself at home, you would just avoid those things. If you have high blood pressure, a little less salt. If you have diabetes, a little less sugar, a little less carbs. So on the right side of your handout is pretty much what I'm going to be talking about. I do this myself on Sunday. I do meal prepping myself. So at 6 a.m. I personally go to Smith's, but you can go to any grocery store of your choice. It takes me about half an hour. I know exactly what I want to buy, so it's very important to have a list ready. Usually I go around the periphery of the grocery store, so just around the edges, and I buy exactly what I need, nothing extra. Definitely don't go into those middle aisles. That's where all the cakes, cookies, and breads are. You don't want to be there. Go around the edges. In half an hour, I buy all of my products and I come back home. Less than 2 hours, I'm done with my meal prepping. So this is not an activity which should take you all day long. Very quickly know exactly what you're going to buy, come home, cook exactly what you need to cook, and you are done. So I go at 6 o'clock to the grocery store, 6:30 I'm home. I start cooking at 6:30. By 8:30, all my food is cooked, packaged, all my dishes are washed, and we're done. That's what I'm going to show you today. So the biggest thing you want to start out with is protein. So for me, timing is very important. So I don't mind paying an extra few dollars to get stuff pre-made for me. So I used to buy regular chicken, and then I used to go home and take the skin off and then cut all the fat off. Turns out they make it. So if you just pay an extra $1 or $2, you can buy the chicken breast already with the skin off, lean chicken with all the fat already off. So I buy chicken breast, I buy eggs, and I buy turkey. So I personally like this brand, lean turkey meatballs, fresh, never frozen. There's about 24 of them in here. So for example, this week, this will be my menu. Then I'll buy some fruit, some granola, a little bit of yogurt. Bottom line is you come home, you start with the protein. That's always the hardest to cook, and you start with that first. So chicken breast, for example, get a little scale. You want to do about 4 to 5 ounces. So that's about the size of a deck of cards. So you cut up your chicken breast about 4 ounces and just keep cutting nonstop. Cut all of your chicken breast up. I get 3 or 4 different bowls. Also, another protein that's easy to buy is shrimp. And I buy the shrimp already peeled, deveined, pre-cooked sometimes with the shell off, no tail. So that cuts down on a lot of prep time if you buy it that way. So I'll have my chicken in a few bowls, and I'll have my shrimp in a few bowls, and then I buy different seasonings. That is the key. So I'll have ranch seasoning, mustard seasoning, barbecue seasoning, sweet and sour, teriyaki. Just season all your protein in different ways. I personally use this. This is the NuWave oven. I love this thing. So you just take the top off. It fits tons of protein on here, and it grills it very quickly for you. It uses infrared waves. Now I'm like a infomercial. It uses infrared waves, and it cooks your meat for you inside out within 10 to 16 minutes. So I put my chicken or my shrimp on. Shrimp, it only takes like maybe 6 minutes. Chicken takes about maybe 14 to 16. So I put the chicken on in 8 minutes, set it for 8 minutes. 8 minutes, it's done. Flip it over another 8 minutes, it is completely done. Shrimp, just a few minutes, and it is completely done. So in a matter of 16 minutes, you have finished cooking all this meat right there. Even before I set this on, I have a bowl in the back going with hot water. I put all my eggs in there, literally 12 eggs. So I have 12 eggs boiling. I have the other burner going, and then I put my turkey meatballs. Although they are already cooked, I add some ragu sauce to it. So I have chicken, shrimp, I have the eggs going, and I have the meatballs going. Those are my 3 proteins. If you don't want it grilled, you can also get this, which I call it's called the power fryer. Just by using heat, it fries your food for you. You do not need to add any oil. Similarly to this, you do not need to add any oil to it. So if you've ever seen those cartoons with Bugs Bunny and he touches the sun and he turns all like black and ashy because he's burnt from the heat of the sun, that is how this works. So literally, it's so hot, it crisps your food for you. So a concept I want you to understand is called the Maillard reaction. The Maillard reaction is how food becomes brown. Usually what chefs do is they put the food on a stove with some oil, and food becomes brown at a very high temperature. So when you put the chicken, it has to be in the oil has to be very hot, then it starts to get brown on both sides. It's sizzling, it gets that sear. That's called the Maillard reaction. Then you take it off the stove and then you put it to bake. So at the end of your baking, you still have that nice brown crisp to it. You don't need to do that with these two machines. They magically, using the infrared laser and the high temperature with the metal, get up to that high degree. So the Maillard reaction happens without any oil. So that's the bottom line. You get a nice sear on your protein without having to put all that oil into it. So I have my 3 proteins going. What else am I doing in the meanwhile? Making sides. So sides are very important. This is what I use, Steam Fresh, and you can use whatever you want. This is the one that works for me. In 5 minutes or so, you stick this in the microwave, and this is a side, and this is 3 servings. This, for example, is rotini and vegetables. This one is cut green beans. Again, you stick it in the microwave, 5 minutes, and out comes perfectly cooked green beans. It gets steamed out for you. I used to buy regular green beans, boil them for like 20-30 minutes, then they come out, you strain them, you cut them, it takes forever. This now literally is done in 5 minutes. So I make breakfast parfaits. Those are really easy to do. You get 7 cups, 7 plastic cups. On the bottom, put a fruit. So I pick blueberries. Those are easy. You don't need to cut them or anything. So I get a spoon out and I put 7 spoons of blueberries. Then I buy the big Dannon yogurt, fat-free, vanilla flavored, spoons of yogurt in 7 different cups. Then I buy a little bag of granola. Nothing fancy. These are basic. You can get them at any grocery store. And I spoon out granola into 7 little cups. Actually, it's 14 cups because 7 for me, 7 for my husband. And then I have saran wrap to cover all of that. So while this chicken is going, it's grilling, and the shrimp is frying, and then I have the eggs are boiling, the meatballs are boiling, the veggies are there. Remember, my hands are free, so I'm doing all that. So boom, 14 parfaits done. That goes into the freezer. By that time, 8 minutes have gone. My chicken, I flip it out. This is done, and then you start plating. Very important to have Tupperware. I used to buy really fancy Tupperware. So this, for example, this has the top. Thank you very much. This has the top and the bottom. So I used to put breakfast on the top and lunch on the bottom. These are awesome. You can buy them on Amazon and they have, you know, their own little handle. But then I used to lose the bottom or lose the top, and then the whole thing really doesn't work. So I found these. I think these are Glade, I think, and you can get like 3 for 99 cents. They're super cheap. So I bought literally hundreds of these things. So you can mix and match the bottom. If one top or one bottom is missing, doesn't matter. It still works properly. And then I bought a bunch of little ones as well. And Ziploc bags are going to always be your friend. As soon as a protein is done, piece of meat is done, you put it in the plate. As soon as the microwave rings and a side is done, one package is usually 3 Tupperwares, 3 servings. You scoop it out. You can get different flavorings again and season the veggies on the top. Again, these are done. Let them cool, close them, and you put them in the refrigerator. What next is the boiled eggs. The boiled eggs by now should be done. I strain those. I get my Ziploc bag and I put 2 to 3 boiled eggs in there. Do not peel them. Don't waste time. You don't have time to do that. When you're eating them, that is when you'll start to peel them. After that, you already plated your grilled chicken with your veggies. That is done. You finished all your lunches. I cut up bell peppers while I'm waiting for all of this to happen. Cut up little bell peppers, julienne them, again put them into Ziploc bags, and I put them in the fridge. If you go to Smith's, they have a whole Mediterranean section where there's stuffed olives, there's little mozzarella balls, there's sun-dried tomatoes. I buy that stuff in bulk. And then I take them out and put them into little Ziploc bags as well. So 1 Ziploc bag, and that's what I'm doing that whole morning. I'm counting olives, 4 or 5 olives, putting them into Ziploc bags, sealing them. Mozzarella, 2-3 mozzarella bags, Ziploc bag, and sealing them. All that goes into the fridge. If I buy fruit, buy strawberries. How many times have we done that? You buy a whole thing, beautiful strawberries, it sits in the fridge, nobody eats them. What I do is I take them out, wash them all, cut off the stems, split them in half. Again, Ziploc bags, everything is bagged up. And the last meal would be meatballs with veggies. So the meatballs are also done. You get out your Tupperware, you put the meatball, whatever peppers you were cutting up or other sides of veggies, you add that in. Again, this whole thing, very fast, takes maybe an hour. You spend the next half an hour just kind of cleaning up. But bottom line is, when myself, my kids, my husband open the fridge, already there's all these meals. If you're hungry, there's so many meals. And I don't buy anything except exactly what is on this meal prep list. So there's no extra cake, there's no extra cookies, there's no extra bread. If you're hungry, there's already pre-packaged snacks. There's olives, there's mozzarella, there's bell peppers. If you're hungry for a full meal, there's already parfaits there for breakfast. There's already grilled or fried chicken, grilled or fried shrimp with the side of veggies. Again, these are small little portions. You have to remember that. So these are small little Tupperware, they're small little portions, but you're going to be eating 6 times a day. Breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. You are eating all the time. The problem that we tend to have is that we sit down for these big lunches and big dinners that never quite get digested. But if you're meal prepping yourself and you're making small little meals, you're capable of eating frequently throughout the day, you're gonna stay full all the time. You don't have to worry about feeling hungry. When you do have a horrible craving and you go into the fridge, there's a healthy snack already prepped and ready for you to go. You will save tons of money, you will stay healthy, and this is the key to maintaining your weight loss. Thank you guys for watching.